That's because I don't
No,
like
it's
that shit.
recording.
Action.
Tiff, like you have to be in the frame. Like, look, I'm not
Yes.
here. I'm not here for your uncooperativeness today on tonight. I
Yes,
can't
you
play. Are you done? So, takeaways from Dear White People. We saw Dear White People at LA Film Fest. You have thoughts.
Plenty of them.
Lots of
feelings.
All the thoughts.
Lots of thoughts and feels and.
We won't make y'all.
Oh wait, should we like introduce ourselves or no? Does it matter?
We should probably.
Okay,
Probably,
so I'm Cams, editor-in-chief for the Visibility Project, visibilityproject.com.
I'm Carlin, managing editor of Visibility Project.
I'm the Alexandra. What am I?
Senior editor.
Senior editor. Sorry, my position changed really quickly, so I just
That's a
don't
good thing.
ever remember.
It's a good problem to have.
Like it was just a lot of whatever.
Problems. I got promoted too fast.
Right.
We'll remember that shit. Tiff.
Base Monster Tiff.
Right, that works too.
Social.
So, one of the first things that stuck out was, I think this was Sam's character when she talks about being too politically correct to say black.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved that because she was basically like, if you can't say black, you're probably racist as
All get out.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try not to cuss too much. I love that because, you know, I have this thing about, like, the whole black versus African-American thing. I really don't like the term African-American. And, like, I've been around white people who were just incredibly nervous to say black. Even when I'm like, you can just say black. Like, the African, like, stop stuttering. It's painful to come out. Like, why is it such a problem for you to say black?
It's painful because they're in your presence. Because you
Yeah.
know good and damn well,
Yeah.
sorry. You know good and darn well
No, I mean, that's fine,
that it happens when, you know, when
I
we're
feel
not
like you don't
around.
struggle to, like, identify me when I'm not in your presence.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I need you to not do it.
It's like when you censor yourself when
Yeah.
saying
Like, you're
rap
censoring
songs.
yourself
Mhm.
lets me know a lot. So one of the other things was that some of the things seem so far-fetched, and yet, like, nothing in there was really that far-fetched to me, because, I mean, I'm sure we can all, like, sort of attest to this, but a lot of it, I was like, yep, happened to me, or, yep, no, somebody that happened to, or, yep, that's realistic.
Like
And
last
I've heard-
week.
right, like, yesterday. So, and I've heard, like, a lot of people be like, oh, it's, like, this really cool, and it is satire. It is satire. But the scary thing is that, like, it's actually
Just
very
not that far-fetched.
hella realistic.
Like,
I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but they put something in the end of the movie where they show basically how current it is. And one of our lovely people saw her school
to the top.
there, and she was like, "Oh, that's my school," and I was like,
Yeah.
"Happened to your school, did it?" Like,
Your
school made the news
she
too,
was
huh?
exhibiting HBCU privilege.
I
But
was,
It
I-
happened everywhere.
didn't
so-
happen. It was just hella black at my school.
Cam had her
The cameos, I was here for the cameos. Like, the first one being, was it Issa Rae,
Yeah,
right?
Issa Rae was
Which
first,
I
yeah.
knew she would had a cameo, and I was still like, ah! Okay.
Right.
And then there was Lena Waithe, which I don't know why none of us expected to
We
see
were very
Lena
shocked.
Waithe.
Lena.
Yeah.
But
were
we were
watching
all,
this.
like, hella
We were very
shocked.
surprised.
And we just, like, had a mild, just, like, small fangirl scream.
Yeah.
That
It
happened.
was
A
nothing-
collective fangirl
It was
chorus.
nothing major. Just
Fangirl quartet.
We did do it for like the first appearance of like many of the people
Yeah,
we know.
we did. That's
Yeah.
true.
We corresponded. We were like, oh Jesus.
My stream was a little prolonged because of what she was wearing. I was like, I'm here for it. And I, brace.
So,
She's wearing braces, and she has on the shirt and the hat, and her dreads are down. And so I had a moment.
hey, Lena,
Just a little fashion moment. It was nothing.
I think it's because she's so exactly.
Yeah, but
she's
she's
still very low key.
She's still very low key, like
Yeah.
behind the camera entity,
Right.
which I mean,
like she's never intentionally in front of the camera. Like when you see her on the camera, it's because they're doing like behind the scenes of something,
Right.
And
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
like
yeah.
directing. You know, like but
yeah,
Whatever.
serving awesomeness.
yeah.
And speaking of serving, one of my favorite things that I've been talking about for an hour is how much mother freaking face Courtney Sauls was serving in this film. By the time, like, we were 3/4 of the way through the film, like, I was like, this child ain't had... I was like, this fish ain't had nary a line
Not
in the
a
movie.
word.
And yet, I feel like I know every thought that ran through her head in every scene she was in. I was just like, face. So much face. Like,
And the
just every
side eye.
emotion. The side eye.
We
Well,
talked
that was
about
a
the
lot
side
of, like, Ashley Blaine
Ashley
Featherson, too.
Yeah.
Like,
Side-eye
Ashley
game
Blaine,
strong.
Yeah.
side-eye
Her side-eye
game
game was proper.
is, yes, it's very proper. Like, it was on point. Like, I'm pleasantly surprised about the performances, which not surprising. Like I expected people to be bad, but it just exceeded like my expectations. Especially Tessa Thompson. Like I've seen her, like she's in For Color Girls, and like I loved her in that, and I was like, yeah, she's awesome.
She was the little girl, the dancer girl.
Okay, whatever.
And then
Don't do
Macy
this.
Gray
Don't do.
had
We're not doing. I'm gonna pull a Justin Simien. We're not doing this right
Okay. Like Tessa Thompson was really amazing in this.
Yeah, she was.
Movie, like really, really, really amazing, and I was definitely pleasantly surprised. And again, not because I expected lesser performance, just because I thought it was freaking awesome. Also,
Okay, I'll go. 3 points I liked. I liked the fluidity of the characters. Like they were super multi-dimensional, and you just got to see like a lot of sides of them and see like a lot of depth to them in such a short amount of time. Like they took every opportunity they had to like
which is a testament to how well it was written.
Yeah, right.
Because
like,
it didn't take so much to see so many dimensions. Like you're like, okay,
that
I get
was
you.
like an hour and how long was that?
106 minutes.
So
could be making that up,
for the
though.
character development that we had, you would like in most people would need like 3 hours. But I liked how much of a like shared story it was. Like, they said like it's about several people. I thought it was gonna be anchored on Sam's story and Sam's story mostly, and then you get like a little bit of everybody else. It was just like a lot of different.
It was
people.
definitely on top. Like I know like Tessa Thompson is the star, I guess. But it was very much about Lionel as much as it was about Tessa, as much as it was about Coco, as much as it was about a couple other people. Reggie and his shit. Never mind, we're not going there. Because we can't discuss spoilers. So.
Reggie, none of those people. We'll just keep going.
We'll just keep going. One of my major takeaways was the fact that Justin Simien explores the concept of Black women being used as a device to further causes.
Yes. No. Just carry on.
Just go.
Yeah. There were a few scenes when Tessa Thompson's character. I don't want to use the word exploited, but I mean essentially it's what happened. You had people that were trying to use her to further things that they wish that they could do, but didn't actually do themselves. They didn't put in the work. They weren't shooting with her in the gym.
Or even like they were just like, here, you go be the face of.
Like, I'm angry about it. So
yeah, I'm angry about it. Here, you go do it, and we're gonna have your back. Like we're ready, but we're not doing this shit without you. You know, it's like, like oh, you got the permits. Don't use excuses. I'm not here for that.
You got the permits. Are you ready?
Right.
You know, she's not here, so we're not gonna have the BSU meeting. Like little things.
Yeah, like they totally canceled.
Yeah, they're like, oh, they're about to have
a meeting.
Yeah, they're about to have a meeting, and they're like, oh, Sam's not here. Close up shop.
Right.
What?
Like, how does that work?
That was kind of a thing with all the marginalized characters in their circle of trying to get like to the next level. Like even with Lionel, his editor was like trying to get him to do stuff. Right?
Yeah. How Lionel was used by his editor. Yes. Yeah. Dang, that would be another. There was something about this film and the way that it was written, and the way that it wasn't just like a slap in your face. Black people are all angry. We all hate white people. Like, which is kind of sort of how some folks, I think, A, wanted it to be, B, expected it to be, and sort of C, like, insinuated that it would be like, you know? And it wasn't like that. Like, this was so freaking well written. Like, I don't even know, like, I really can't talk about that enough. A lot of the things that we like about the film are just testaments to how well it was written. The characters are written so well. It's one of those situations where it's like Justin Simien, man, writing these awesome women characters. I don't want to hear shit. Like, I don't want to hear shit about you not being able to write women again. Like, it is freaking possible. Yeah, they do. Like,
they're like,
male writers,
we're not.
Male writers in general try that. Like, they're like, oh, I don't know how to write women.
Do the work, find out. Like, you
but
know.
I mean, it's not even like impossible.
It's like you got a sister, though.
Do you have no women in your life? Have you never seen like a full-fledged, like, multi-dimensional woman? Like, were you raised by wolves? I don't understand. So, I mean, but it just really does speak to, like, the fact that it's possible.
Yeah.
And this is one of those films that's like, guess what? We're not here for your shit anymore because we have this. And, like, all the other bullshit, you can keep that.
Another great thing about the movie is that it, like, just had no concessions for white people. Like, it wasn't, like, completely just full on attacking white people.
Like, bashing it.
But it wasn't, like, at the end, like, oh, but at the end of the day, they're good at heart. Like, it was take whatever feelings you have.
Yeah.
And I love that.
And, like,
there was no white savior. There was no attempt.
There was no white savior.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like white bashing.
Right.
And then they still had the one, because, we hate to hear the phrase, but not all white.
Not all.
Yeah.
Right? So then you had White Bay who came in to serve. My bad, that is not his name. We did not find out his name. Okay, so, and I can't really describe him because that would be like
I think
spoiler.
White Bay is the perfect
White Bay
descriptor.
just literally
Well,
just
yeah,
does
White
the
Bay.
job.
There's a character in the film. There's this white guy, and it could go so wrong so fast, right? He could be so many ways, but the way that he's written, the way that he's portrayed, is like, you know what? You know your place as a white man. Like,
You know
your place
He's
as a
stuck
white.
with
Like,
it.
you get it. It's like he's like, I'm willing to check my privilege, but also I'm really not just gonna be steamrolled and like bathing in white guilt, and I'm also not gonna give you white tears. It was just like, where are those white people?
Yeah, he challenged her, and then he also accepted her for everything that she may have been challenged for as a black woman. Like how he says, I know that you like
spoilers.
So shout out to White Bay.
Yeah.
Yes,
This is
shout out to
great.
White Bay. Also,
See how much I like you, White Bay? That's how
What's
much I like
his
you. I almost
name?
couldn't
Did we
contain
remember
myself.
that?
His name.
I don't know.
I bet you I'm gonna find it.
Madam Google has the answers. Let's talk to her.
This is a research school.
This is a research school.
There's a lot of like
So many
humor
quotables.
in this,
Mhm.
So many
and I
quotables.
feel like depending on your experiences, like you might laugh harder at certain things
Yeah.
than others. That's the other thing. We were surrounded by a sea of white people or non-black people,
Non-black.
which is
We're
awesome. Because a lot of times you see these like race-themed movies, and you're like, we're not the ones that need to see this. Like, this is preaching to the choir. Like, you look around, it's an audience full of black people, and you're like, but my neighbor Susie is really who needs to be watching this, And this was one where I'm like, yep, all you white people in the seats right here, this is where y'all need to be, right? And I just found it very interesting. And I also found that the four of us were laughing pretty hard at some shit.
we were
that
really
people around us were, like, not laughing, and I was like, y'all. I just don't know
Right,
why
but
that's
it's so accurate.
Why?
It's
Like,
hysterical.
this is our movie.
Right. I don't think anybody was complaining. I think it
No.
was just like, I noticed that I was like, there were parts where people kind of chuckled, and I was like,
we were
y'all,
like laughing.
that was more than chuckle worthy.
Right.
That was hilarious.
Right.
And I would tell you why, but reasons.
Yeah, we
Me
ain't
and
gonna do
Tiff-
it.
Me and Tiff's on.
We can't talk about the fact that, like, Courtney Sauls, like, clearly had a little fan club.
She did.
At the
Courtney,
theater.
you're
And
quick.
we were kind of,
Yeah.
like, screaming, cheering, like, that, like, we saw her name, and, like, we were like, woo! And then there was a whole section over here that was like, how? And
You're like, Courtney!
we were like, okay, they're, like, screaming her name, and I was like, I see you, Courtney. I see you with your face starving self.
Mhm.
I'll say this. I haven't seen a film of this quality, of this caliber, like a black film, this well written, this well rounded,
Well shot.
this great,
Right.
well shot. Oh, shout
And in
out to
23
the
days,
cinematographer.
23 days they had to
Wait.
put that together.
But shout out to the
Just
cinematographer.
acknowledge
I think his
that.
name is Topher. I think I said that to you like sometime in the middle of the movie.
Yeah,
I was
you're
like,
yeah.
who was the
I can't.
cinematographer?
The shots.
Right.
The shots. I can't deal with.
And I was like, I don't know if that was the photographer in me, but I was like,
No,
who's the
it was just
cinematographer
great.
on this?
Right.
It
No,
was
it was
really,
great.
really well shot. Like, what the hell? Anyway, yeah, it was just, I haven't seen a film this great, like a black film this awesome, since probably, with this much substance. The last time I've really, really been this excited was like the first time I saw, like, my last Spike Lee joint I saw. Like Do the Right Thing, or which, I didn't see any of those in
It's
theaters.
probably older than.
Yeah, all of the Spike Lee classic joints are completely older than us.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But it's been that long, and I was just like, I'm here for this for so many reasons.
This in the press circuit, it was parallel to School Days a lot, but it's just like when you think about it, like School Days. It's basically School Days if School Days was shot at a PWI. Like, not basically,
Okay.
but because School Days is shot at a HBCU, it's talking about like conflict at a HBCU amongst Black people. Xavier,
I
right?
just
so
I get.
like
Do you think it like really compares to School Days?
I mean,
don't.
No, I think
No.
that was oranges.
I see where people are going, but that's sort of like how I feel about when people compare 20s to like girls. I'm like, that's fine, but no, not at all. Like, I don't see. It's kind of like we were talking about. It's shot. I do like the creativity in the shots.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. I like how it's kind of not just formulaic. I get that, but in every other way, it seems so very different to me. Not just the content or the subject matter or whatever, but it's like like we said about the being overt versus
it's like two different
subtlety.
styles.
It's two different styles of filmmaking, which is awesome. It's great.
Yeah.
Two different styles of writing.
I think like I've heard him say it too. That's why I brought it up because I've heard him mention it as like a at least an inspiration. And so I
can see.
I can see. And so and I think people are just boxing in just because it's like it's set on a school campus. It has a message. Okay. And it's unconventionally shot. You know?
It was probably one of the last
thinking too deep about it.
Because really the last, it's not the last film.
But it was one of the last films in recent history that
had in the last 30
years.
30 years.
Spoke to us.
And that's the other thing we talked about, how the fact that it, like, we're not...
I'm not angry.
Like, we're left motivated, but not, like,
not
rage.
Angry and drained.
Yeah, like, not by rage or anger or, like, now I want to cuss out every white person I see that passes me on the street, but more so like, oh shit, let me get my life together. Yeah. Like, let me step my game up. Let me do more, because this was a perfect, way to start talking about visibility and representation and the race issue and the fact that we don't, like, what somebody said something before they were introducing the movie that was like, the discussion of the conversation of whether we live in a post-racial society, and I'm like, that's not a conversation. Like, and then Carla was like, that's really like a true-false question. Which it is, and it's like the notion, the very idea that we live in this post-racial society is like sort of...
Comical.
It's like mind-blowing. Yeah. And I think, like, Dear White People is it's a good representation without being like, fuck you, we're not in a... Like, without being like extra angry about it. And,
And then I just thought that this movie was a very good mirror of the way society is today. Like, it just reflected a lot of things that we see in, like, mainstream, just everything.
Stuff that we hear.
Yeah.
I heard, though, like, the white people around us, like, sort of, like, responding to some of the things, like, the white characters said. When, they're like,
you're like, oh,
yeah. And I'm like,
speak these
I'm
things?
like, basically, Tommy said that to me yesterday. So
yeah.
Like, while you're flabbergasted, I'm like...
It happened.
I heard that yesterday, so...
Right.
It wasn't... It made me sort of roll my eyes. Like, even when I was seeing the stuff at the party, I was just like...
Oh, the party?
When you started rapping, I'm like...
I think that's easily the roughest scene in the movie, is the party. Because you're just like, wait, no, stop. Like, I don't want...
And even though we often, like, see these types of films, and we're left with, like, you're preaching to the choir, I didn't really need this reminder. Like, how I said about 12 years, I was like, I didn't need 12 years. There are some people I know who need 12 years. I wasn't one of them. I feel like even black people need this for various reasons. Because... It's pretty easy, like, if you, like, now, post-college, I went to an HBCU, then afterwards, I was very much like, look, I'm all about black people, like, uplifting black people. So I kind of, what I do naturally, or what I do for a living, I'm around a lot of black people who are doing positive things, who are doing very, like, I'm not around a lot of Cocos.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know any Cocos, like, in real life.
I don't think I know any Cocos either.
I've known some in the past, but, like, presently, like, since, like...
When I can choose my circle.
Exactly. Right. We don't have any Cocos in the circle.
Right. But it's important to sort of, like, remember, like, Cocos exist.
Yeah.
Like, and Cocos aren't just, like, one-dimensional. They're not just easily dismissed. Like, you can't just dismiss the Cocos and be like, look, I need you and your blue contacts to go somewhere, right? Like, you can't just do that. So I think, like, black people need that film as well. I know I did, because when you see sort of stuff like this, like the party and, like, the other things that they were saying, it didn't surprise me, but it was a good reminder. It was like, you know what? You're right. This shit does happen.
And it's just seeing your experience, because, like,
and seeing your experience on screen.
Yeah.
Anybody who has been one of, like, the few, and I do hate the word minority now, but, like, anybody who's been a minority in a situation understands. Like, I didn't go to the PWI, right? But the very, very reason I didn't go to a PWI is because I spent my life at a PWI.
Your life was a PWI.
Like, from preschool. Right. So even though I didn't have that experience in college, like, Dear White People experience, I had it in high school.
No, yeah, because it's relatable. It's like America. So, like, it's like at any given point in your life,
it's America.
This is what you're dealing with at any institution. Because
if you've ever been mildly successful at anything.
Yeah, like, if you just literally are not completely surrounded by black people all the time, this has been your life at some point. You didn't realize it.
You're one of the characters in the film.
You
or a combination of
and they wrote it so well, everybody's so complex that you can find yourself
in a lot of people. There's not just one. Like, I really doubt anybody's like, I'm just Sam. I mean, maybe you are, but you can't pick one character that you're like
because I've definitely been
and
Coco.
say you're not like
I went through
other
my Coco
people.
phase.
Yeah.
So,
really? I think the only reason I never went through a Coco phase was because I was just so inundated by like whiteness. From such an early age.
See, yeah,
I was
that's
like,
the thing.
oh god.
My experience was the exact opposite. Mine was like pre-K through 8th grade was all black people all the time. Then I was like, I need to go and be amongst white folks for high school. And then so like it was just
it was the opposite. Yeah,
it was.
So anyway, go October 17th.
Go see it.
Comes out.
Yeah.
And I find it was very gratifying. I don't got no parts of Dear White People. Like, I'm not involved.
They don't pay us.
I don't know these children. Like, they don't pay me.
They do not fund us at all.
Right, not at all.
We get no funding
so,
from them.
like, I'm not, like, no types of special. But here's the thing. Somebody was like, I was like, oh, it's coming out October 17th. And they were like, oh, select theaters. And I was like, no, bitch. Everywhere. I was like, this is a major motion picture. And it just feels so, like, gratifying to just be, like, to know that it came from such humble beginnings. Yeah. And, again, like, we're not even from, like, weren't even on board from jump, just, I guess, Kickstarter phases. I think we all came in different. Yeah. So, I remember it then, and I was like, when?
Yeah, everybody's like, what?
Right. I told them earlier, they had me just at the title, the concept of Dear White People, like this letter from us to you saying,
I saw the
get it together.
But
they had me at that.
Yes.
Something. I think, is it Lena Waithe that uses the tagline, trying to save bad black movies from happening to good black people? Is that the line? I'm not crazy.
I know Courtney talking about.
Right. 20s in her little
20s.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Thank you. Thought so. But anyway, like, and I know that applies to like 20s, but like it really, really does apply to Dear White People. Like, Dear White People is a good black movie that has now happened. Like, it's for good black people. I'm like, and I hate to say good black people. You know what I mean? But it's like, yes, thank you.
We just have a movie.
I just feel like saying
it's just not a black struggle movie. And
so we have some.
But outside of Best Man Holiday, we haven't had a good,
solid,
non-black struggle movie in a really long time. And I appreciate that, Justin. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Justin. Thank you. We appreciate it more than you know.
Good job. We liked it. Thank you. October 17th. Dear White People.
Go check it out.
Get your life.
Yeah.
Thevisibilityproject.com.
Look at you!
Look at you!
That's who we are. Like, just in case you watch this video and still don't know who we are.
Visibility Project. That's us.
I'm gonna go write an article now.
Do it.
And we thank you.
And we thank you.
So,